Hello and welcome to this video on SOCluster. SOCluster is a tool that clusters Stack Overflow questions together using a graph-based clustering approach. In this video, we'll be showing how SOCluster can be used towards answering of unanswered questions on Stack Overflow via answered questions.
The motivation for SOCluster comes from the fact that more than 30% of questions on Stack Overflow are unanswered. Clustering can solve this issue. For example, see these two posts from Stack Overflow. Both of them have the same intent of asking about merge sort. If they are clustered together, and if one of them is answered, it can be used to answer the other one. This way, clustering of Stack Overflow questions can be leveraged to improve the platform's services. SOCluster has been developed in 3 stages. The first is the dataset generation and pre-processing. In this, the Stack Overflow data dump is downloaded from Stack Exchange archive and processed using a MySQL script to create well-organized SQL tables. The questions are then vectorized using sentence-BERT vectorizer, which gives a 768-dimensional feature vector corresponding to each question. The second step is graph construction, where we use the feature vectors and generate a weighted undirected graph. The feature vectors act as the nodes and the cosine similarity between two nodes as the edge weight. In the third step, a graph-based clustering algorithm takes the weighted undirected graph as input and provides a set of clusters as output.
To use SOCluster, go to this GitHub link and download the SOCluster repository to your machine. Now you also need to download Stack Overflow post.zip file from Stack Exchange archive. This is the link for that.
So you have to download this file. It contains only posts.xml file. To set up SOCluster, navigate inside SOCluster repository and go to the data folder. Inside database_script.sql file, replace this path with the location of the post.xml file that you downloaded on your local machine. Then go to the clustering folder and the graph_clustering.py file. Here, replace this username and password with your MySQL credentials. Now, you are all set to use SOCluster. In the terminal, go to the SOCluster repo and run the database_script.sql file. It has to be run only once as it creates and sets up all the required tables. I've already run it, so I don't need to run it again. Now run the graph_clustering.py file in the clustering folder using this command. Here you can provide 3 arguments. N for number of questions to run SOCluster on, T is the threshold similarity, and tag list contains the list of tags to select the questions from. So we'll run it. So after the code runs, all clusters will be printed on your screen. From cluster start to cluster end lies one cluster. It also prints the spread of the cluster over different sizes here. So this is the size and these are the number of clusters belonging to that size. SOCluster also evaluates the clusters on 3 evaluation metrics: Silhouette coefficient, CH index, and DB index. Together, this spread of the cluster and these evaluation metrics can tell us how good the clusters are. You can also easily repeat the experiment done in the paper using this result script shell file present in the clustering folder. This will run for all the cases and store the results in a js_python folder.
That was the description and demonstration of SOCluster. Thanks for watching. For any queries or concerns, you can reach out to any of us on the below mentioned email IDs. Thank you.